MAA was rich, more wealthy than anyone in the village, and beautiful like the morning sun. But this village had a strange problem. For 20 years, no one had given birth to a baby boy. Every time a child was born, it was always a girl. The villagers were worried. The king of the village was very old. His beard was as white as the clouds, and his hands shook when he walked. The people knew he couldn't be king for much longer. They needed a new king. But there was a big problem. No boys had been born for years, only girls. The chief priest, a man with wisdom as deep as the river, gathered the people together. He told them the first woman to give birth to a baby boy would have her son crowned as the new king. The people were shocked. Could it really be true? A boy born in the village would become the next king? From that day on, every woman in the village wanted to have a baby boy. Everyone was desperate to give birth to a son who would wear the crown. They prayed, they hoped, and some even cried to the gods. But still, only baby girls were born. The village was filled with the sound of newborn girls crying, but there was no sound of a baby boy's cry anywhere. MAA, sitting in her grand house, watched as the women of the village struggled to have a son. She smiled to herself, thinking, "I must be the one to give birth to the next king." The village waited and waited, but no boys came, and so the race for a baby boy began. The village held its breath, wondering who would be the one to finally give them a new king. MAA wasn't just rich, she was also the neatest woman in the whole village. Her house shone like the morning dew on leaves. Her pots and plates sparkled like stars in the night. Every corner of her house was spotless. People said, "Muna's house is so clean, even the wind won't leave dust behind." MAA had many maids who worked for her. They cleaned, cooked, and fetched water from the mountains for her. MAA didn't drink from the village stream like everyone else. She always sent her maids to climb the high mountain and fetch the cleanest water. "Make sure your hands are clean before touching my water pot," she would say to her maids. Not that the village's stream water was dirty, but Muna didn't just drink from it, and the reason was best known to her. Her maids obeyed because everyone knew how strict Muna was about neatness. But little did they know that Muna held a big, big, and dangerous secret about the village stream that not even the chief priest knew about. However, people in the village admired her, but they also feared her. She was beautiful and wealthy, yes, but there was something about her that made people whisper when she wasn't looking. "May-A is proud," they would say. "She thinks she is better than all of us." But Muna didn't care. She walked with her head held high, her clothes always shining brighter than the sun. Yet, for all her riches and neatness, Muna had one big problem that weighed on her heart like a heavy stone. She could not have a baby boy. Every time she tried to have a child, it was always a girl. And no matter how clean her house was or how many maids she had, MAA could not solve this problem. Her wealth couldn't help her. Her beauty couldn't help her. And as the days went by, Muna became more and more desperate. She wanted a son, a boy who would one day become the king, and she would stop at nothing to get what she wanted. But the harder she tried, the more disappointed she became. Every time she thought she was pregnant with a boy, it turned out to be a girl. And Muna, with all her pride, began to feel a storm brewing in her heart. The race to have a baby boy was on, and Muna wasn't going to lose, no matter what. MAA's desire to be the mother of the future king grew stronger with each passing day. The thought of her son wearing the crown and ruling the village filled her dreams. She was determined, no, desperate, to give birth to a boy, and when Muna wanted something, she would stop at nothing to get it. MAA began to believe that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't picking the right man. So she decided to marry different men, thinking one of them would surely give her the son she longed for. It wasn't long before she started stealing husbands from the women in the village. When Muna heard that a woman was pregnant, she would snatch the woman's husband, offering him gifts and money until he left his wife for her. The women couldn't fight back. Muna was too powerful, too rich, and with their husbands gone.